Hello, this is Stephanie again. In this video, we're going to talk about the administration block and all of the functionality that instructors can access when they click on the administration block. So the first thing I did was I logged into Moodle and then clicked on one of my courses. I'm in the test course shell, the Getting a Job shell. And then there are lots of blocks, and we've talked about adding those blocks, and then some of these blocks can provide some really great functionality. I'm going to navigate down to the administration block, and here is the administration block. You can close it or open it. And I'm going to walk through a lot of these in order for you to understand their functionality and how you may want to use them. The first is Edit Settings. This is something that you can access also up here at the top of your screen with this gear, and it walks you through your course settings. We've already talked about that, so I'm not going to talk about that one other than to show you what it looks like. But this is where you would enter your course start date, your course completion date, and you would set up your description and all of that. We've talked about that in a previous video, so I will skip that and jump to something that has a bit more newness to it. The next is to turn editing on. You can also do that here and at the top, just like with Edit Settings. Course completion. Now in your Edit Settings, if you have checked the box or said yes to activity completion, and I'll quickly show you where that is in the Edit Settings menu. Completion tracking, activity tracking. If you have said yes here, then you can use this function of the administration block called course completion. And this basically helps your students walk through the course, and then they will know when the course is complete. If you want them to access everything in your course, then you would say this course is complete when all conditions are met, and you would come to activity completion and you would select everything. Now I wouldn't do this until after you've completed your course, because then you can just check everything, and the students will have to have completed everything in order for them to have this course marked as complete. And then you can say select all. I'm going to say select all. You can complete on a specific date. You could set the date for whatever date the course ends, and once the course ends, the course is complete. You can call the course complete as long as they're enrolled in the course, or you can call the course complete when they unenroll. You can call the course complete when they earn a certain grade. So you can set the enable and then the required course score. Now remember, this is points, not percentages. So if you have 1,000 points in your class, what is considered passing, or the grade to have to complete? And then you can do manual self-completion where students check off the boxes, or you can manually do it yourself. You can check this and check the instructor, and the instructor can go through for each student and manually say whether or not the student has completed the course. So course completion can be pretty motivating to students, especially those who struggle with time management. They need to see that they're making progress. So this could be of benefit to you as the instructor and to the students. It could help with a little bit of retention. And you'll notice that there are boxes here. Because I've selected that they have to complete everything, this course won't show complete until they have all of the boxes checked. So that's course completion. It is a rather cool tool for you to use for your students. The next is users. Here you can see the enrolled users in your course and their roles. So you can see that I have a list of students in my course along with the instructors. You can change their roles if you're given those permissions. The only people who can change roles are the administrators, which would be Corey or I. Up here, if you look, you can see that you can enroll a user. So I can enroll specific people in my class. So if I wanted to enroll my program supervisor, let's pick Trisha. I would just type her name in, and there's Trish Waldman. Now, the only thing that you'll be able to choose is a non-editing instructor. That is the limitation of having the role of an instructor in the Moodle system, is that you can use non-editing. You can see I can do a lot, but I'm the administrator. So, but you could certainly assign someone who wants to evaluate your course the role of non-editing instructor, and then they could go in and see your course. You can add students, but just note that they'll be enrolled only as non-editing instructors, and you don't want that to happen. So if you're having student enrollment issues, that's an issue for the edtech.admin@presentation.edu email. You just shoot us an email and we'll take care of that for you. You can also see their status as active. You can see when they last logged into the course. You can see whether you have them set into groups. You can see their email addresses. And then you can see that you have an I, and it tells you when they were enrolled in your course. You see that you have a settings. You can actually go in and look at a student's profile. And there's a garbage can. If you click on the garbage can, you're going to delete the student from the course. But don't worry, you'll be prompted again, so it won't automatically happen until you say yes. Now you'll notice that the students' names are in blue. That means that I can click on them and go to their profiles and look at what they have accessed in their profile. Now this profile is another training video, and we'll go over that in more detail later. Back to my course administration block. That's the user reports. The rest of these you won't be able to access as an instructor, and if you do, the functionality will be very limited. Filters, please don't change anything in the filters. They're set the way that they need to be in order for Moodle to function in our system. Reports is probably the most important place you'll come. In reports, you can look at all sorts of data on your class and your students. You can look at the grader report, which is the grade book. And that's another video, and we'll talk about that later. You can look at competency breakdowns. If you have competencies built into your course, you can click on this and look at each competency and look at students individually or as a group to see who has met which competencies and what ratings that your students have earned in those competencies. So just again, you won't have this if you don't have competencies in your course. And if that's something that you have interest in, talk to Corey or I, and we can set you on the path to get competencies built into your courses. Course completion, remember, if you set up your course completion, now you can see that you have all of these students listed down here on the left side, and then across here you have whether or not they have completed anything in the course. So here's a list of all of the assignments, and you can now see who has completed what. It's a nice little checkbox or a nice little overview of what students have done in your class. A nice little overview of what students are doing in your class. It's a great tool to look at who's not participating, who's not completing. So it's a nice retention tool, because then you can shoot that student an email or a message, and then that can help them maybe get back on track. Course completion is a rather useful tool for an instructor to see about course completion and retention. Dates, you can filter by specific dates and by activities of assignments. So here are the dates, and now you can look at all of the activities that happen in those dates. So in the course, I can look at all the assignments in the course. Now, if you look at this, I can now change the dates. This is a really nice tool if you have an imported course or a duplicated course and all you want to do is change the dates. You come to the dates over here in course administration. You go to the activity site or activity type, and now it will show me, okay, I have a paper. Now I can go through and change all the dates without having to click on each one in a course. I can do them all. Now if you want these all to expand, this little expand all button up here in the right corner will expand everything so that you can see all of the assignments. So now I can quickly go through and change the dates that to all my assignments to make sure that they correspond with what's in my syllabus. Then I can come up here, and if I have anything else, it will tell me. If I have an external tool, I can go in and check to make sure that the dates are correct. If I have a file, if I have a folder that has a date, remember if you set restricted access on anything, the dates have to change. So you can quickly go through and change the dates on things. You can look at logs. Logs are very effective when students say that they couldn't log in, or that they didn't have access, or that they're sure that they submitted something, those kinds of things, academic integrity issues. So basically, you can choose what you want to see. I would like to see all my participants for all my days, in all activities, all actions. I set this to create if I want to see if they've actually uploaded anything. All sources, all events, and then get these logs. You want just a standard log. Now it will show me exactly what has been happening in my class with all of my students. If I want a specific student, then I just come up here, go to one specific student, and hit get these logs. So now you can see that Ben, and I logged in as Ben, that Ben has been active today, and he has submitted some assignments, and it tells me what date and time. It tells me which user was affected and the user that was doing the action. It tells me where they were. It tells me what component. It tells me the event name. It tells me the description. And then it gives me an IP address. IP addresses are pretty useful. If you copy and paste this into an IP locator in Google, it will tell you where that IP address is located. So this is PC's IP address. So if I popped it into an IP locator, it's going to point to Aberdeen, South Dakota. And some IP locators take you down to street level. This would be great if you had an academic integrity issue. If you wanted to prove to a student that no, they really didn't log in and submit something. And the cool thing about this log report is that you can download it as an Excel spreadsheet. So if you hit download, you'll get an Excel spreadsheet that you can then use as data to support your claim. Logs are very important for teachers, especially online instructors and teachers who teach a lot of students. Live logs are just that. They show you who's on now and what they're doing. So here's the live log for today. There you go. It's live. It's what's happening right now in your course. Can't download this. You really just can look at it. So it'd be useful if you wanted to know where students were when they were taking an exam. You could go in, hit live logs during the exam period, and you could see the IP addresses to make sure that students are where they say they are, because you could narrow it down to a proctor site, to a testing site, so that you would know that students are where they say they are when they take their exams. An outline is just that. You get an outline of all of the events in your class, and you get a list of who's viewed them and how many users. This is really useful if you have videos in your class or if you have content like files, URLs, those kinds of things. You can see how many users are actually accessing that. So if you have a video in here and not a single user accessed it, maybe you need to either better describe the video, give students a hint that they need to watch it so that they're actually clicking on the link and watching your videos. So this gives you some cool information about what students are doing in your class. Course participation is another really cool retention tool. You can actually see what students are doing. You can choose by whatever assignment folder, whatever piece of content that's in your class. You can look back a specific number of days or weeks. You can look at students only. And then you can choose your actions, whether they viewed or whether they posted. Great for attendance in those first few days of class. You can go through and see, did everybody attend? Did they post? That way you don't have to count. You don't have to go into a forum post and count the number of posts to make sure that they equal the number of students in your class. You can just go back and use a course participation chart to show you. So I can choose paper 1, and I want to look back 3 days. I want to show only the students, and I want to show those who have, I want to show all actions, and I can hit go. Now, because I know that, there you go. So nobody has submitted that paper yet. Now, if this were an attendance activity and nobody had accessed the attendance activity, I would go back and look at my activity to make sure it's on, and then I would be talking to students about why are you not. Now notice that I can select students and come down here, I can send a message. So if I notice that everybody has submitted except for James Monroe, I can click on that. I can choose to send a message, and then I can say to James Monroe, hey, everybody else has submitted the paper, the due date has passed, please be sure to get this in the next few days, or you'll lose points on or whatever you want to say. And once you type this in, it sends the message through Moodle to James Monroe, and he'll see it when he logs into Moodle the next time. And then if you select all, it selects all your students. And then deselect all. So you can see that this is a great tool to use to help students stay on track. It's especially useful for first-time online users, for freshmen, for students who may not be very familiar with how the class works or how Moodle works. It's a great way to keep tabs on students and to help them keep on task and on track in your course. So that is course participation. Activity completion works much the same way. Again, it shows you all of your students. It shows you whether they have participated or not and what they're doing. You can download this in a spreadsheet. You can sort participants by first and last name. It's kind of another way to access how students are doing in your class, but this time it's downloadable into an Excel spreadsheet. I could download this and use this in a class to say, hey, you didn't attend, you haven't completed this many. It could be used as evidence in a grievance. So just know that these kinds of areas are helpful in a class. So those are under the reports in the administration block, and all faculty have access to them. Gradebook setup, we'll talk about in another video when we talk about the gradebook, but here's a quick way to get to it. You can also get to it over here in grades. So you have multiple ways to access that. Outcomes are just that. If you have outcomes associated with your course, you will be able to click on this tab to see which students have accessed which outcomes and to see how they have completed them, who's completed which outcome, so that you can generate information and export those outcomes if you want to use them for HLC or for accreditation. Now, none of our courses have outcomes associated with them yet. If that's of interest to you, then be sure to let Corey or I know, because we can easily get some research and figure out how to do that. They're pretty time consuming to put in, but once you've got them in, they stay with your course forever, and they do affect your gradebook. So if you're interested in that, just let Corey or I know and we can help you. Badges. This is something that very few of us use, but what you can do is you can add a badge to a course that shows that a student has completed. I am going to be using badges for the professional onboarding and professional development course, so that you'll earn a badge after you complete each unit. If you want to learn how to do that, basically you just click on add a new badge. It's not difficult. You give your badge a name, you give it a description, and then you give it a file, an image. Now make sure you're using copyright-free images. So let's say that I want to type interviewing skills badge. And I would type in a description about when they earned this badge, what skills that they had to prove to get the badge, skills to earn, and then when they can earn it. So then you need to find an image. I go to Pixabay, which is a cool website that gives you free, copyright-free images, and I chose this one and I downloaded it. So Pixabay, Pixabay.com. I'm going to choose my file, and it's right there in my downloads. I'm going to click that. Okay, it's all there. And then you can put your issuing details in there. Name, I'm going to put Stephanie Hansen. And there's my contact. Put in your email address. And then you can say when the badge expires, and I'm going to say it never expires. Create badge. There you go. There's your badge. Interviewing skill. I can change the name if I want to, edit my details. Now, one thing you have to remember when you're creating a badge is that you have to have this badge pretty much perfect before you set your criteria, because once you set the criteria and someone earns the badge, you can't change it. So then you go on to criteria. What do they have to do in order to get the badge? I pretty much either do manual issue or activity completion. And then it's going to take me to my activities, and it's going to, when I do this, I want them to upload their, say I want them to upload their week 3 interview questions, or maybe it's complete a mock interview. And then I can say this is complete when all of them are finished, and then I can put in a description. Then I can hit save. I have a badge. When one of my students earns the badge, they'll get that in their profile. Now remember, it says this badge is currently not available, so when your course is ready and you want the badge to start to be earned, then you can click Enable Access. And once you hit Enable Access, you get this video or this pop-up menu that says it will be locked and you won't be able to change things. So make sure that you have it set correctly, and then hit Continue. And now it is ready to go. Alright, so that's badges. You can always manage them. This is the Manage Badge page. No one's received it yet. I just created it. And then you can always add a new badge. Edit due dates is just that. We were there earlier. Here's where all of my assignments will be, and I can change the due dates. So this is another place where you can go to change due dates if you have a course that's been duplicated from a previous course. A big long list of everything that is assigned in the course, and you can quickly enter the due dates. You can see how quick and easy it is. It gives you a calendar. So get your syllabus out and match all your due dates with the due dates in the syllabus. It's pretty simple. And then submit dates, and everything will change in the course. So it's a quick and easy way to change due dates in a course that's already been duplicated. Import. Import is an interesting function for those of you who want to pull in just part of the content from one course into another. If you want to revise a course and you only want to keep a piece or small parts of another course or a previous course, you can just order a blank course. A blank course shell is just that. It will have the topics or the weeks. It will have the labels if you want them. And then you can choose what to import into that course from a previous course. Let's say that I wanted to import from a college experience course. So I just type in start to type in the course code right there. I'm going to click on this one, and I want to look at that college experience course. And let's say that I want just one piece. I'm going to uncheck everything here. I don't want the competencies. I don't want the groups. Maybe I want the question bank. Now remember, copyright is attached to question bank, so if you're not using that textbook anymore, you can't have the question banks. The copyright's not good. I don't want the calendar events. I don't want the filters. I don't want the blocks. All I want are the activities and resources. Then I'm going to hit Next. So now I can go through and uncheck everything that I don't want. So I don't want anything in the mid. I don't want anything here. Maybe I just want, I want this time management resource. So I will uncheck everything except the time management resource. And then I will just uncheck every other week. So once you've got everything, or the easiest way if you want just a few things is to select none and then scroll down to the one thing that you want. Depends on what you want. If you only want one thing, uncheck all of them and then just find the one or two things that you want. Now, in order for you to click anything in this box, you'll have to click this and then just click the one thing that you want. So that's all I want. I just want those time management resources. And maybe as I scroll down, I might find another thing that I want. Oh yeah, I do want the code switching. That's an important one. Remember, click the box. Code switching and communication skills. I want those two. Anything else that I want in here? Let's say that that's all I want. So I scroll down to the bottom and I click Next. I double check to make sure that everything has a red X if I don't want it, and everything that I do want has a green X. Then I go to the bottom of the page and I hit Import. And once I click Import, then it will import those things that I've checked into my course. Remember, I'm in a test course, and it does take a little while depending upon the amount and the size of what you want to copy. Alright, so you can see that it has finished, so now I just hit Continue, and now it has pulled those things into my course. There's my time management resources. It pulls them into the same placeholder that it was in the original class, so you may need to move it. Turn editing on and move it. There are my time management resources, and there's my code switching. You can see that you can pull in specific select resources. You can pull in exams, you can pull in single files, double file, it doesn't matter. Whatever you can checkbox, you can pull it in. It's an easy way if you want to recreate a course and pull in just a few things from a previous course. It's easier than deleting everything. All right, back to the course administration, so that's import. Reset, after you've done an action, if you don't like it, you can click reset and it will take you back to the previous. The question bank, this is a whole nother video on how to set up quizzes, question banks, import questions from a publisher, those kinds of things. So we'll cover that in a special video just on creating quizzes. And then there's the recycle bin. So if you ever delete anything and you don't mean to delete it, check your recycle bin to make sure that it's not there before you frantically try to find it. LTI provider, there's not much that you need to do with that one. That one is for the back end of Moodle to make sure that things are functioning properly. That is how you can use the administration block to help run your course a little bit more smoothly and use it to give information about how your students are progressing through the course. Thanks.